Hey, Brian. It's going great. How you doing?
Not too bad. How was practice today?
It was good. It was good. And by the way, that's our Pirates. It ain't my Pirates. Our Pirates.
There you go. There you go. That's exactly right. How when you're preparing for a game like this, it's kind of like the state game. Although the emotions are going to be a little different. It's not an in-state rival, but I think everyone on that Pirates sideline realizes the opportunity that the BYU game presents itself.
Well, we talk about each and every week. The main focus is on us and making sure we go about our preparation and our business and how we handle things. But I will say this, in practice today, I thought there was a little bit more pep in their step. We talked about the word intensity, and I definitely thought practice had a little bit more intensity to it. And some of that's just because of your opponent and who you're playing and the brand that the BYU Cougars are.
You think about just exactly what this game means, and you think about the big crowd, and this is one of the reasons that a lot of your players come to East Carolina, because they've seen and they've heard about the big crowds, the rowdy, dowdy crowds, and just the big game type atmosphere, and that's what we're going to have on Saturday.
There is no question. I mean, there's a lot that East Carolina has to offer, and one of the main things is the people and how they treat you, and just being in a great game day atmosphere in Dowdy Fickle. And every time we take a recruit in there and we play the highlight video, and it's at night, and those recruits they kind of feel themselves in that uniform, and they know how special this place is. And I can't wait for it to be to show everyone nationwide on national TV how special Greenville is, how special Dowdy Fickle and East Carolina are.
I'm not going to give it away, but I understand there's going to be some surprises with the night game. So I think that fans that come to the game are really going to be impressed with the entire presentation as far as the game goes. You guys do your part, win that sucker, and the whole thing's going to be great when you think about it.
I was getting ready to say, you're getting ready to surprise me too. Just making sure we get some defensive stops and score some touchdowns and make sure we have more points than they do at the end of the game.
Take us back to the shutout this past week, Coach. You're playing Coastal Carolina on the road, and obviously in the first half, you guys have a halftime lead. But I think a lot of the players really felt like, and the coaches felt like, you guys left something out there. And then in the second half, you just put the pedal to the metal and just dominated that second half.
Yeah, you're right. We thought, in the first half, we left some points out there, left some plays out there that could have been made, and on really both sides of the ball, even special teams as well. And just didn't have the lead we should have, and weren't dominating like we should have. And then at halftime, we talked to them pregame just about, the waves. We stayed on the ocean last week, stayed on the beach, and the waves, you kind of watch those come in, and we talked about the waves in a storm, how they're just kind of relentless and keep pounding and keep going at it and keep hitting. And that's what we had to do in the second half, and we were just relentless about our effort and those things, and it kind of paid off there in the fourth quarter. Got the run game going a little bit offensively, and then defensively kept after them, and turned out to be a good night.
Do you agree that when the Pirates are running the football, that's when that offense clicks on all cylinders?
I definitely agree. And certain aspects to it. Caden's pulling the ball. People are stacking the box on us right now, and he's pulling the ball and throwing the relief out wide, the RPOs, doing a really good job with that. So he's always had a great arm and great touch down the field. And now he's starting to be a great distributor of the football, what I call like a point guard. And he's putting it in the right people's hands. He sees pressure coming. He knows exactly where to go with it. So he's making some really good decisions with the football right now.
And you utilized Anthony Smith a lot out of maybe the slot or even out wide, but you get him the football with quick passes and let him just, run the sideline. The other thing that I noticed about some of the yardage that Anthony Smith was able to collect against Coastal, he got some great downfield blocking. And you don't get that yardage without that blocking.
There's no question. We talk about getting better each and every week, and I thought that's one place we got better this past week is our blocking on the perimeter. Quez Petaway, Yannick Smith, all those guys really did a great job out wide. As you mentioned, a lot of Yannick's yards this week were Anthony's yards this week were just kind of short throws or screens, and those guys are doing a great job in the perimeter, and he knifes and gets vertical with it and does a great job, getting yards out of it.
I got one shot. I was behind you, and we try to get some video shots to put on the coach's show it's getting ready to drop right now, as a matter of fact. And he came to the sideline. He got pushed out of bounds. It got pushed right into you, which got pushed right into me. But we both survived because we're tough, right, Coach?
Well, that's right. I told the official, Brian, I said, make sure you take care of Anthony. Don't let him get hit in the white. But what I was really saying is take care of Brian.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure, nobody runs into him.
Take care of the old guy for sure. All right, let's look at the turnovers you guys were able to force. Force 5 turnovers. I think you guys maybe turned it over once, but you lead the entire nation now in turnover margin, and I know that's a point of emphasis for this Pirate program.
It has been, and just really proud of both sides of the ball. I mean, we started back in the summer talking about the ball and how important it was, and our saying it's all about the ball. Offensively taking care of it, and defensively getting it back for our offense. And did a good job both on Saturday night. Offensively, I think we had our first turnover, had a mishap on a pick there, but I think if we can go another 3 games and only have one, we'll all feel good about that too. So doing a much better job, but we got to continue to do that if we want to win games down the stretch.
All right, let's talk about your opponent coming up. BYU comes to town 2-0. Basically, they're ranked 26th in the nation because they're getting the most votes of any other team in both polls. They were actually ranked 25th, I believe, in the coaches poll last week. They had an off week this past week, so they dropped out, but they're right on the verge of being nationally ranked. If they win in Greenville, they will go into the rankings, so the idea is to keep them out of the national rankings.
No doubt.
But it's a very good team coming to town.
It is, and they're 2-0, and much of the off season, people were talking about them possibly being a top 10 team and maybe a playoff team, and then they had a situation at quarterback there. But they're still a good football team. As you said, they were in the top 25 there, and probably fell out of it just for due to not playing more than anything. But there's Kalani Sitake's been there 10+ seasons and done a really good job there. They beat Portland State 69-0. At home, and then turn around and beat Stanford at home as well. I think 27-3. So they've only given up 3 points defensively. I think they're only giving up 100 yards a game defensively, and averaging about 40 points a game offensively.
Yeah, and they are ranked number 1 as far as total defense goes in the entire nation. So you've got a great defensive team coming to town. As far as the offense goes, do you make any changes, or is this all about East Carolina taking care of Pirate football offensively?
Yeah, we got to take care of Pirate football. That's got to be the first and foremost. But they're big. That's kind of what stands out on film. Big, physical, and I think our kind of advantage is we're athletic and can run. And so we got to make sure we spread them out in space, play side to sideline, and make them play sideline to sideline, and see if we can take some advantages there of their defense.
I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback with the number 47 in any football. And I'm talking Pop Warner, Little League, everywhere. I've never seen a quarterback who wears 47, and that's what we're going to see on Saturday night. Bear Bachmeier, true freshman at quarterback, wears 47. The story goes that he wore it early on in his career playing maybe Pop Warner, liked the number, kept it, and he's still 47.
You don't see that much. Everybody wants a single digit or a teens number for quarterback, but definitely first for me as well. Bear started out his career at Stanford last spring as a true freshman, was an early enrollee, and then when they went through the coaching situation at Stanford, him and his brother's Tiger, both transferred to BYU, and he's earned the certain job, but it'll be his first road game as a true freshman in Dowdy-Ficklen.
Yeah, you think mom and dad like animals, like going to the zoo? They got a bear and a tiger?
Yeah, and I can't remember the older brother's name, but I think the older brother played at BYU as well.
All right, so BYU comes to town 2-0. East Carolina is 2-1. There are tickets still available. How do you get more fans to get this thing sold out, Coach?
I just think everybody, like we talk about it being about taking everybody and being all about us, and I think this week is truly one of those. Like the crowd noise and the crowd factor in Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium can truly affect the game this week. You're talking about a team that hasn't traveled on the road yet this season, and a team that hasn't faced adversity this season, and a freshman quarterback. And I think Dowdy-Ficklen and the noise and the momentum and the energy that we bring in there can be a huge factor.
What do you remember about the 2022 matchup with BYU, and does any of that help you in this game?
I remember we didn't play good defense. That was the defensive coordinator. So
that was the coordinator's fault for sure.
But I do, Brian, remember that field goal going through the uprights last play of the game and got us bowl eligible in 22. And it was a great night, great win on a Friday night in Provo. And, they're a physical football team. They do a good job. They're hard-nosed. And I'm sure we'll see every bit of that on Saturday night.
Was that the ugliest game-winning field goal you'd ever seen?
It's definitely in person, for sure.
But it got across the upright. I mean, when he kicked it, it was kind of like, oh, you kind of cringed a little bit. But then it floated over, and it was good.
It don't matter how you put it between the uprights, does it? It just matters it goes in between the uprights.
That's exactly right. I want to mention Mike Wright, too, before we get you out of here, because we got a chance to talk to him again yesterday for his media availability. I know he went to Tiebreakers last night. He was a part of the Inside Pirate Athletics there, and I've talked to several people since then, and they were all just beaming about the way, I heard the radio interview with Patrick Johnson, thought he did a great job. And then they said he got up and went by table to table to table. What an outstanding young man. And he's just so happy to be at East Carolina. And if you had 40 of him with his attitude, you'd be in really good shape.
Yeah, we're no longer going to call that the coach's show. We're going to call it the Mike Wright show.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's running for mayor, so P.J. Conley better get ready.
P.J. better be ready for that if Mike Wright does run for mayor. But what an outstanding young man.
He is just an outstanding young man. And, when he first committed, I tell the story all the time, when he first committed, Pete Thamel, who's on ESPN Game Day, writes for ESPN, called me, said he had met Mike Wright at SEC Media Days a few years back. And he says, hey, I think this guy's going to be the president of the United States one day. And I kind of ignored it at the time, but as the more you hang out with the young man and just realize how impressive he is, I don't know what he's going to decide to do one day, but he's going to be very successful at it.
Yeah, we told him he ought to be a broadcaster and try to be a sportscaster. Although you don't make a lot of money in that field, but he's got such great pipes and such great personality.
He does. I've already tried to talk him into coaching as well, so I don't know what he's going to decide to do, but he'll do a great job at whatever he does. And he is definitely a blessing to our locker room and to the folks in our program and even our fans. And, we are blessed to have a locker room full of guys like that, young men that, put team before self and truly care about Pirate Nation and being a Pirate and love being here.
And, I really thought in watching some of the scrimmages that Mike Wright might be more part of the offense, and maybe he will be going forward. But you ask him, and his exact words were, whatever JDB, John David Baker, the offensive coordinator, whatever he wants me to do, I'll do. If I'm the second-string quarterback and the backup quarterback, I'll do that. I'll do that to the best of my ability. If they need me to go in and try to catch a pass or make a run, I'm ready to do that. I'll do anything and everything because I just love, he said, I love Coach Harrell. I love JDB. I just love being here. I mean, you don't see that kind of attitude very often, do you?
No doubt. And Mike's going to make a big play for us in a big ball game at some point this year. And I think you just got a little bit of a glimpse of how we plan to use him and have him as a weapon moving forward. We got to get some things going with our offense and get a little comfort level before you start inserting some different packages in there. I think maybe we tried to do a little bit of that too early in the season, kind of pull back from that a little bit. But you did see a glimpse of what, on Friday night or Saturday night against Coastal, what we see every day in practice.
Yeah, he took that one 18-yard run from the gun and ran it in, and you could tell just how excited he was to get that touchdown and to make a contribution to this team.
No doubt.
All right, let's wrap it up with BYU. What are you looking for as far as the Cougars and Pirates? And what kind of game do you look for? We're going to go high scoring, low scoring. I know what you're going to say. All you care about is Pirates scoring more than those Cougars. But what do you look for? The strength and the power of BYU, the speed and the quickness of East Carolina.
Yeah, no doubt. I think we're going to have ourselves a good football game. Two good football teams, and I would love to say, hey, we're going to score a bunch of points and let them score a little, but who knows? We got to take care of business, and I think that starts on first down, defensively, getting them behind the sticks, making their quarterback be a quarterback and not just letting him be a guy that hands the ball off or tucks it and run. We got to make him sit in the pocket and make some throws down the field. And the same thing offensively. We can't get behind the sticks offensively. We got to keep, on schedule and on pace. That way we get some manageable third downs and keep the chains moving and put some points on the board early.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for your time. We certainly appreciate it, and best of luck. Can't wait to see everybody at Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium for East Carolina and BYU to come. But thanks so much for your time again on this Tuesday.
Yeah, Brian, thank you, and thanks to all Pirate Nation. Can't wait to see you on Saturday night.